Happy Wednesday. Y'all, I'm gonna try to get this lighting right. It's a little dark in here.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is JB, and I'm a surefire, cold-blooded, bonafide, hot-fucking jam on production MC. If you want the best, then put me to the test, and I'm sure you'll soon agree that I got no flaws, cause I'm down by law when it comes to rocking viciously. You see, cause of when I was a little baby boy, my mama gave me a brand new toy. 2 turntables with a mic.
Hello.
Like a dollar.
Good evening.
I on this God creation. I knew someday I would rock the nation, so I made up my mind just what to do. And I joined with the Jam on production crew. So go crazy, don't let your body be lazy. I said don't stop the body rock till your eyesight starts to get hazy. To the short shot beat, chew you to the bone, comes the chili beats on the microphone. Till your mind is floating like you're in a dream, and you feel so good that you gotta scream. Jam on it, jam on it and on and on and on.
Good evening.
Everybody gone and that doesn't happen to the
Don't do me like that. Don't just like this video. You love this video,
you wanna
okay?
hear the music just come alive. If you don't know how, get ready to learn. Those guys most taking his turn to burn. Take the seed, and O in the seed, then you add M-O and the freaking D, add a funk and beat, and little what do you see? It's Cosmo D, yeah baby, that's me. I got the beat, but that's oh so sweet. Without me rocking this incomplete, so rock this yo, rock that.
I'm gonna wait a few more minutes. Good evening. Welcome to the Fair Play Show. Hey, Woody. Thank you, darling. Thank you. I'm glad you hear me. It's DJ R Boogie on the mic right now. What's going on? Oh, Kenya, you ain't missed nothing yet, girl. I just got on here. I'm going to let a little music play. And hopefully some more people will join us. And then we can talk about the events of the day. Because I know you on top of it. Little old school for you, little old school hip hop. We rock this
12-inch cut for disco kryptonite. When Superman looked up at me, he said, "You rock so naturally." I said, "Now that you."
I hope y'all having a good evening tonight. Jam on it. Jam on it. Hey. What's going on, Vincent? How you doing? Professor, how are you? I'm glad you're watching, hon. Make sure you love this video now.
We started dancing and love put us into a groove. As soon as we started to move,
come on in here. Go get somebody. Go tell somebody to come on, because I want to talk about the events of the day. I want to talk about the outcome of the events from this past Friday night. Mr. Rashard Brooks, another black man murdered by the penal system, or by our criminal justice system, y'all.
we started dancing and love put us into a groove. But now he's with somebody new. What does love want me to do? Love said, let the music play. You won't get away. Just keep the groove and then he'll come back to you again. Let the music play.
You won't get away.
This groovy got it going. He won't leave you anymore.
Now make sure you tell somebody to come along. Come along. Welcome to the Fair Play Show. It is Wednesday night, June 18th. 17th. 17th.
This is just a dance, but I see he's dancing his way back to me. Can't see the stuff that we are truly love is magic from the very start.
Y'all, I apologize if this video is dark. Wait a minute.
So we started dancing and love put us into the groove. As soon as we started to move, as soon as we started to move, love said, let the music play. You don't get away. Just keep the groove and then he'll come back to you again. Music play. You won't get away. This groovy got it going. He won't leave you anymore.
Okay. Enough of that. Tonight, we're going to talk about a few things, you guys. We're going to talk about a couple of things going on in the news. I promise not to be before you long like last week. The main topic of discussion tonight will be the events of today with what was announced by the district attorney in Georgia. His name is D.A. Howard. I did not catch his first name, but his last name is Howard. And all of the charges that he announced and whatnot in reference to Mr. Rashard Brooks' murder this past Saturday night. But before we get off into all of that, some other things did happen. I took some notes, y'all. I got a board over here that I'm looking at. Terry Crews. A lot of people seem to be mad and pissed off with Terry Crews. And when I first heard that they were pissed off with him, I didn't know why. And I didn't understand what the problem was until I actually, of course, went and read the series of tweets between him and some other celebrities that went back and forth about his initial tweet. And, you know, it was an interesting situation. See, on the surface, to a lot of people who are not deep thinkers, Terry Crews appeared that what he said was right and that there was nothing wrong with what he said. But the more I looked into what Terry Crews did say on Twitter, and I'm going to tell you what he said in case you didn't know, I realized that what he said is a problem. It is a problem. It was his opinion, and he is entitled to his opinion, but what Terry Crews said did not help anybody at all. It was a problem in a lot of ways, and it was somewhat offensive when you really get down to the root of what he said, y'all. I apologize for this video. This stand is leaning a little bit. Let me make this light brighter, y'all. Hold on just a second. Is that better? Okay. All right, so back to Terry Crews. So Terry Crews got on Twitter one day, I guess last week, and now he's getting a lot of backlash for the tweet that he made on Twitter. And the tweet that he made, it read exactly like this. This is the main tweet that a lot of people are mad with Terry Crews about. He said, in the midst of everything that's going on with the protests, in the wake of the murder of Mr. George Floyd, in wake of the protests, the looting and the rioting, and black people letting everybody know, trying to talk about what's going on. Hey, Geraldine, how you doing? Y'all make sure you love this video, and make sure you go tell somebody to come on and watch it with us, okay? So anyway, the tweet that Terry made was, and I quote, he said, "Defeating white supremacy without white people creates black supremacy." He said, "Equality is the truth." He says, "Like it or not, we are all in this together." Now, on the surface, what Terry Crews said, it appears that there was nothing wrong with it. It appeared that he was right in what he said. And it's like, why are people mad? But the more I thought about what Terry Crews posted and what he tweeted, and I also thought about some other things that Terry Crews has said in the past, I began to realize that deep beneath the surface of what Terry said is a problem, okay? His whole tweet, that whole tweet, what he said, and let's kind of dissect what he said for a minute. He said, defeating white supremacy without white people. First of all, he made white supremacy the problem of black people. White supremacy is not black people's problem, it's white people's problem, okay? Black people are not trying to defeat white supremacy. Black people want equality. We want white people to defeat white supremacy because only they have the power to defeat it. Only they have the power to overcome white supremacy. It is not our responsibility. And Terry Crews was putting the responsibility of white supremacy over on us. He was taking the responsibility off the white community. And I'm talking about the white supremacists now, okay? He was taking the responsibility off them, and he was putting the responsibility over here on us in the black community. That's the first thing that's wrong with what Terry Crews said. He says defeating white supremacy without white people. First of all, white supremacy cannot be defeated without white people. So what Terry Crews said was a moot point. There was no point in what he said. Black people, again, we are not trying to defeat white supremacy. That's what we want white people to do. We want white people to take ownership of their white supremacy, their white privilege, their racism. We want them to own it, and we want them to seek change because the change is going to begin with them. The responsibility or role that I believe that black people have in white supremacy is that we often feed into the white supremacy. We often aid and abet in the white supremacy by making tweets like this one that Terry Crews made. And also, when you hear black people pushing the black on black crime narrative, that also, we don't see it. You don't see it on the surface. But what you're doing is you're really helping with that white supremacy agenda. Okay? That's what we're doing when we push that narrative. But when he said what he said, defeating white supremacy without white people, as if we can defeat white supremacy without white people, so it's a moot point. He says it creates black supremacy. There is no such thing as black supremacy. Black people do not want to be supreme over any other group of people. I do not believe that. Once again, I believe that all we want is equality. We don't want to enslave anybody. We don't want to lord over anybody. That takes too much work, okay? We just want to live at peace and have equal opportunity to be able to attain the same level of wealth and peace as everybody else is. We want to be treated and looked at the same way as everybody else. That's all we want. We do not want to reign supreme over anybody. I do not believe that. Okay? So for him to say us defeating white supremacy, even though we're not trying to defeat white supremacy, without white people, a moot point, because white people are the only ones that can defeat white supremacy, since they are the perpetrators of white supremacy. He says equality is the truth, and that is correct. Equality is the truth. It is the truth, and that is what we want. He says, like it or not, we are all in this together. No, we're all in the United States together. We're all in this world together, but all of us are not in the situation of being oppressed together. We're not all in it. Even though racism and white supremacy hurts white people also, they just don't see it. They don't understand that it hurts them too. They get along and fare a lot better if they weren't that way. The ones that are. I ain't talking about the ones that's not. But we are not all in this together. If we were all in it together, what's going on around the world today would not be happening. So for Terry Crews to say this, it was very ignorant of him to say it, I believe. This is just my opinion, y'all. It was also very arrogant of Terry Crews to say what he said. It almost seemed like Terry Crews was trying to play a hero to the white community. It's like he's trying to save them from our accusations. He's trying to relieve them and make them feel comfortable about what we are about what we are accusing them of. And of course, he's in Hollywood. He's got to try to maintain his stance. So he's sitting on both sides of the fence. He's straddling the fence, okay? I have never taken Terry Crews really serious anyway. You know, he said a lot of things that the community and that people have found problematic. Again, the man is entitled to his opinion, but he's not right all the time. Terry Crews is challenging or has challenged Gabrielle Union, who I'm not particular about. But if that woman says she was discriminated against on America's Got Talent, then who is he to tell her what she didn't experience? It is not his place to tell this woman what she didn't experience just because he didn't realize that he experienced it. So Terry was wrong in that sense. And y'all, today I was on YouTube, and this girl had made a video talking about Terry Crews, and she wanted to know, and this was a black woman, and she was like, what did Terry Crews say that was wrong? She didn't understand why so many people are mad or upset with Terry Crews. She said she agreed with him. Of course, she was, I'm not really sure how old she was, but she was somewhat, anyway, she didn't understand. And so I went on her post and in a respectful manner on YouTube, and I explained to her the same things I just got through explaining to you all, which was why people are mad with Terry Crews and what was wrong with what Terry Crews said. She did not like the truth of what I said. Apparently, she wanted everybody to comment to agree with her. She was even cussing people out in the video, so I should have known better. But she was deleting my comment. I tried to put it on there twice, and she deleted it because it didn't agree with what she was saying. It wasn't rude. It was just straightforward. I told her exactly what I'm telling you tonight, and she literally deleted that post. So, on my comment. So again, this is the statement that Terry Crews made on Twitter. He said, defeating white supremacy without white people creates black supremacy. He said, equality is the truth. Like it or not, we are all in this together. He called himself being philosophical, and he was wrong all the way around in what he said. He was trying to be deep, but he missed the mark. Let me know. Tell me what you think in those comments. Do you believe that Terry Crews, what do you think he said? Do you think what he said was wrong, or do you think that he was just wrong in how he put it out there? And plus, for him to say what he said and put it out there to the public where white people could see it, he almost, he victimized white people. He made them the victim in the situation. Like he got to save them from us. That's the way I took it. Kenya says, when all this is over, there will be a lot of blacks canceled. Yeah, you're right, Kenya. There'll be a lot of them canceled. And again, because we have been so steeped in white supremacy ourselves, we don't even realize when we are contributing to their cause. We don't even see it when we contribute when we get involved in things like this. We don't see it, and that is the problem. That is the problem at hand. We don't see where we are wrong. And that's what Terry Crews' problem is. Terry Crews is in Hollywood. He's been living in a little bubble for a while. He has already proven with many statements in the past that he is much concerned with being accepted in Hollywood. We know that. And so I guess we shouldn't be surprised that Terry Crews said what he said. He was wrong and a racist. He really was, Geraldine. He was being totally racist and didn't realize it. I mean, I can't even, it's hard to explain, but I see why a lot of people were mad with him. Defeating white supremacy without white people creates black supremacy. There's no such thing. White supremacy cannot be defeated without white people. White people are the ones that are responsible for white supremacy. That is their problem. Racism is their problem, not our problem. We want equality. We just want them to acknowledge and own up to the fact that they are the white supremacists and that they're racist. Not all white people, not all, but the ones that are. And like Jane Elliott said, though, she said she told the truth. This is an elderly white lady that has been an educator on racism for about 50, 60 years. Jane Elliott said, she said that if you were born, talking about white people, if you were born and educated and raised in America, you are a racist, whether you know it or not, whether you realize it or not, you're a racist, and you have white privilege. She said that herself. She said she's deep down. She said she was a racist too. She said she has to work on it every day, not being a racist, because she has been taught that. It has been ingrained in her from this system that we live in. She's been taught to believe that she is better. She's been taught to believe that she's owed privileges and that black people are less than her. And so she has had to work all her life at not being like that. And she started crying. She said she hates that it had such a strong hold on her even when she didn't realize it. And she did the thing that she could do, the right thing, and she's changing. So if a white woman can tell you that, and many white people have said it, Tim Wise, and there have been many others, why can't other people accept that it's true? They just don't want to accept the truth. Is that what it is? So yeah, Terry Crews was off. He missed the mark totally when he said what he said. What he said was in favor of white supremacy. He was making them the victim and making us the enemy again, trying to put the problem of white supremacy off on black people. And all we want is equality. That's all we've ever wanted, was to be respected and equality. That's all we've ever wanted. We want them to own up to their racism. We want them to change. Kenya says he is a product of colorism, his soul, his character to gain status. I totally agree, Kenya. Look at the purple rose. Stay focused, Yancy. Yancy, you playing. We talking about Terry Crews and why Terry Crews is hated, or people are mad with Terry Crews. You just make sure you love this video. But why people are mad with Terry Crews, because Terry Crews made that comment on Twitter. He was out of order when he said what he said. He really was. And then you had people like the young guy, the young boy, what is his name? Tyler James Williams, that played on Everybody Hates Chris with him. He played his son. Even he had to come on and debate him about it. He told him he was wrong. Who else told him he was wrong? It was primarily him. And there were some others that told him, Terry, you are wrong. It wasn't that what Terry said was so inherently wrong, but it was wrong because of the where it came from, the foundation, the root of where it came from, and the effect that it has. And the fact that I don't think that Terry thought he was saying anything wrong when he said it. He literally thought he was right when he said what he said. When he made the comment, we are all in this together, that's him taking a pretty bow and putting it on the box. You open the box and you got a bunch of boo-boo in the box. Y'all know, okay? So, no, Terry, you wrong for that one. You don't need to say nothing else on Twitter at all until you get it together. He spoke exactly like somebody that's got scales over their eyes and somebody that lives in a bubble. And that's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. We are not trying to defeat white supremacy as a black people. We want white people to defeat it because it's their job to defeat it. It's their problem. It's their issue. They need to fix it. We just want equality in the process, okay? So no, Terry, you're wrong. So, Yancy, did you see what Terry Crews said on Twitter? I think so too, Ken. You're right. It was too soon for him to say that. It didn't make any sense for him to say what he said. It's almost like he hasn't even been paying attention to what's been going on in the news. Because if he'd been paying attention, if he has been seen, this man is almost 60 years old. He way older than most of us. He should know better than to say what he said. But you know what? When people get money and they become surrounded by certain people, they forget They forget he is truly somebody that has forgotten where he has come from. Okay? He has forgotten. So, no, Terry, we ain't all in this together. I mean, we all in this world together. Yeah, we are. We are. And you know what? If I had a defense of certain white people, and I'm talking about the ones that are not consciously white supremacists, because you got some white people that hate what's going on. It's a lot of white people that are on the front lines fighting and protesting with black people for the cause of equality. There are a lot of people, and there always have been. There are white people that have died and lost their life for the cause as well. So I'm not talking about people like that, because see, you got blacks and whites, the people, those of us that are woke. We know what's going on. We see what's happening. And then you got colored people and Caucasians. So you got two groups of people, y'all. You got the blacks and the whites. These are those of us that know what's going on. Okay, the realists that see what's going on. Those of us that have compassion for people. And then you got the colored folk and the Caucasians, the CAWSACASIAN, the Caucasians and the colored folk. Two different groups of people, okay? And this is the second Black Lives Matter movement. We're going to call it Black Lives Matter 2. T-O-O. Because apparently they don't understand when you say Black Lives Matter. You got to say Black Lives Matter 2 for them to get it. Okay? That's how dense people are these days when you talk about stuff. And they act like they don't get it. But again, you know, I don't listen to very much that Louis Farrakhan says. All right? But even a broken clock is right twice a day. But he does state some facts. And when he said years ago, he said in front of an audience full of white people, he said, white people are afraid that we are going to do to them what they have done to us. But that is not the heart of black people. That is not the heart of black people. We don't want to do anything to white people like they've done us. All we want is equality. That is not the heart of black people. Okay, and he had to say this. They so afraid that that's what we gonna do to them, what they've done to us. But that's not our heart to do that. We're not interested, at least not over here in the United States of America. We're not interested in doing that. So let me know what you think in those comments down there about Terry Crews and his statement on Twitter, which I will read one more time for the people. And that statement was, defeating white supremacy without white people creates black supremacy, as if there was such a thing. Equality is the truth. Like it or not, we are all in this together. Cruz tweeted. Oh, that's so sweet and nice. But he was wrong though. Okay? Okay. So anyway, and once again, there's going to always be people who going to think they better than somebody. You're going to always have people think they better than folk. But again, I don't believe that that is our heart. That is not the heart of black people, to lord over, to rule over white people. Okay? That is not what we want to do. Okay? Also, and I'm not going to stay on this so very long, but you know, Breonna Taylor, who was killed back here in, was it in March that this young lady was murdered? Let's see. When was she killed? Breonna Taylor in, hold on. Y'all bear with me here because I just got the details on this story recently. In Louisville, Kentucky, Miss Breonna Taylor was murdered by the police when they instituted a no-knock policy at midnight one night while her and her boyfriend were asleep in her apartment. They just bust in the door claiming they were looking for drug dealers or a drug deal going on or something like that. They did not announce themselves. They just bust in the door. And when they bust in the door, Breonna's boyfriend, who is a licensed gun owner, pulled his gun out like any man would do, and he began to shoot because he thought somebody was breaking in their apartment, which somebody was. It was the police. And by the way, these police were in plain clothes. They did not have on uniform. It was just a whole bunch of police officers, or a bunch of men as far as he knew. And he shot at them, and one of the officers was shot in the leg. But unfortunately, there was a hail of bullets coming from the police, and Miss Breonna Taylor was shot 8 times. They shot a minimum of 25 times into this girl's apartment, and shot her 8 times. Okay? She was dead way before the EMTs got there. And that situation is sad because this girl was working in the medical field. She was only 26 years old. Her 27th birthday was this month. She didn't even live to see it. So it was on March 13th at midnight when those Louisville police officers executed a no-knock search warrant using a battered ram to crash into the apartment of 26-year-old African-American Breonna Taylor, who was an emergency room technician. Now, after a brief confrontation, they fired several shots, striking her at least 8 times. Now, after I got to listening to all the details of that situation, the police lied. They tried to concoct a story. The person that they allegedly were looking for was already locked up that night. That person didn't even live in that building. So I think it's more to this story. They lied to Breonna Taylor's mother and told her the girl was at the hospital when she came to the apartment to try to see her baby. And the lady went to the hospital. The hospital told her no, she has not been admitted here yet, when her body was in fact still laying dead at her apartment. So Breonna Taylor's mother went back to the apartment and they did not want to let her in. They were standing around concocting their story. They lied on the police report and said Miss Breonna Taylor had not been injured at all. She had no injuries. She just died, when in fact the girl had been shot 8 times. And to add insult to injury, when they bust into this girl's apartment and her boyfriend, who woke up out his sleep, picked up his gun and began to shoot to protect her home, made a mistake. Well, not a mistake. He shot one of the officers in the leg. Do you know that they charged him with attempted murder? They actually arrested this young man. His girlfriend is laying there dead. They had no compassion, no empathy for this young man, 27-year-old young man whose girlfriend that assumedly that he loved laying there dead. And they had the nerve to arrest him. His name is Walker, is Mr. Walker. I don't see his first name. But anyway, to add insult to injury, when they all along were the ones that were wrong. So 2 of those police officers have been fired. And Breonna Taylor's family and several other activists are trying to get charges filed against them. I don't know what the latest news on them, but when I heard that story, I was so sad and so hurt. I became angry all over again. This young lady in her apartment, because of some frivolous police officers that didn't know how to do their job, bust in their apartment and had the nerve, after they broke into the apartment, basically, to get mad because the people weren't expecting them and shot at them, and had the nerve to press charges or try to press charges against Mr. Walker, her boyfriend, who was subsequently released from prison and from jail, and all charges were dropped. See, that's the kind of stuff that goes on in this U.S. of A. These are the type of disproportionate, unjust acts that are taking place. And this is why America and the rest of the world is in an uproar. This is the reason for the protest. This is the reason a lot of people are taking the advantage of the protest and the unrest, and they're looting and rioting, which is primarily not a lot of black people. There's been a lot of white people looting and rioting too. See, people don't want to believe the truth. Instead, they want to point the finger at us and say it's all us. But it's not all us, okay? These protests are going on worldwide. You got the people that we're going to call them, you got the people that protest quietly and they just want a peaceful demonstration. But then you got the people that are more vigilante. They say you ain't been listening to us in 400 years. So we're going to have to tear up some stuff. We're going to have to cause some economic damage before you will listen to us. You're going to always have those people too, okay? And those people are not just black people. There are white people that are also very vigilant in this fight as well. Yancey said, talking about Terry Crews, he made his white racist friends happy. Yes, he did. Yancey, he made his friends very happy when he said that, and he don't even realize it. Geraldine said, it sounds like how they did Emmett Till. It really does, doesn't it, Geraldine? It really does. These are rogue cops. They're rogue cops, and many of them joined the police force just so they could do harm to the black community. People don't believe that, but it's been proven time and time again with secret text messages and emails and recorded conversations. They have proved that this has been the motive of many police officers when they join the force. That's just the way that it is. That's the way it's always been. If you look up the history of the police department, you'll find out why the police department was even created in the first place. It was never created to protect us. And really nothing has changed, as you can see. So yeah, this kind of stuff is happening. Meanwhile, you got some people of color, some police officers that have made mistakes, honest mistakes, and have killed or shot white people. And they were arrested immediately, charged immediately. The grand jury indicted them immediately, and they were immediately found guilty and sent to jail when they killed these white people, when they proved it was mistakes and accident. These were police officers, but the rest of the police force wasn't caping for them. So y'all, it is very imbalanced. The system is imbalanced. The criminal justice system has always been imbalanced. And if you deny that, you a liar and the truth ain't in you. That is what it is, and people are trying to change it. America taught us how to be vigilant. Yeah, they have. They've taught us how to be vigilante, Kenya. They have taught us that. And so I don't understand why people don't get that it's a problem. People are tired. Anytime you got the whole world protesting, this isn't just about George Floyd's death. He was just a catapult for it. This is about everything, everybody, all the injustices, everything that has happened up to George Floyd, and everybody that's still getting killed. You got people that's just randomly coming up being hung, and the police are calling it suicides. And you know black people don't hang themselves. We don't do that. What you say, Ken? Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. It sure ain't. It sure ain't. But all these hangings and all this stuff going on, y'all, it's something spiritual going on. Y'all know it. Y'all better pray. I need to know where these pastors at and where these choirs at that we be joining and singing in. Why these choirs ain't going down there to these protest sites and to these different places where they looting and rioting, and why we just not singing and bringing heaven down. That's what we should be doing. Usher, like my mama said, you got to usher in the spirit of God. Okay, that's what we need. We need a revival in this time. We really do. So but yeah, all the lies and all of the cover-ups and the police attacking people at the protest in Atlanta. Then you had last Saturday night, you had 7 people got shot in an upscale Atlanta neighborhood when a truck came through, which they believe were some white supremacists in a truck came through, and there was a shootout. They started shooting at people, random people in a neighborhood in Atlanta. 2 people died. This was last Saturday. They're not talking much about that. The police officers that snatched and pulled those innocent people out of the car in Atlanta when they were leaving a protest trying to go home, they were doing nothing wrong, but the police snatched them out the car, him and his little girlfriend. Now they've been fired and their charges have been filed against them. So all of this stuff is going on, and people are mad because Starbucks didn't want to let folks wear their Black Lives Matter t-shirt. Listen, y'all, listen. What you say, these pastors, mighty choirs? Yancy, they really are. Now, I believe a lot of them are praying. I believe folks are praying, but they are not out in the street doing anything. They're not getting out of them 4 walls like they supposed to. They supposed to be getting out of them 4 walls, going into the highways and the byways. They supposed to be preaching the gospel. They supposed to be ministering to people. Like I say, take them 200-man choirs, which, and y'all start singing heaven down. That's what they should be doing. But they not doing that, yeah. So they not doing it. Everybody want to be comfortable. You know how we are. Everybody want to be comfortable in our house and in our church. We don't want to get out there with the peoples. But before I get to what happened today or the news of today surrounding Rashard Brooks, let me get back on this Starbucks, and this is going to be brief. I'm going to play another couple of songs, y'all. But Starbucks, you know, people were mad with Starbucks, all right? Because Starbucks did not want to let their employees wear Black Lives Matter attire or whatever. And y'all just listen, okay? Now, I'm all for Black Lives Matter. I'm all for representing the movement. I am. But if you work for a company, they give you a uniform. You have to, I agree, Yancy, you got to act too. I agree. What is praying without action? Faith without works is dead. So they need to move and do what the Lord had already told them to do. They ain't doing that. So anyway, if you work for a company and they give you a uniform, you're supposed to wear that uniform because that's what they pay you to do. Wear that uniform, okay? Now, Starbucks, they should have been looking for a happy medium. Can we wear a button that says Black Lives Matter? Can I wear a belt that says Black Lives Matter? Can I put a wristband on that says Black Lives Matter or whatever? That's fine. But why are we mad because Starbucks initially didn't want the people wearing like Black Lives Matters t-shirts when they supposed to be at work serving coffee. Y'all, we got to pick our battles, and that ain't one of them. That's a company, that's a business, and they promoting their business. But Starbucks finally did give in. They created their own Black Lives Matter shirt for employees to wear. They did come to some type of a compromise that says they are creating their own Black Lives Matter shirt for employees to wear if they choose. The move comes after the coffee chain reportedly banned employees from wearing Black Lives Matter gear. The t-shirt depicts protest signs with phrases including Black Lives Matter, Speak Up, and Time for Change. Now, one sign shows a raised black fist. He says it's not a moment, it's a movement, the shirt reads. Social media blew up over the news reports that Starbucks had told the employees in a memo that they couldn't wear Black Lives Matter shirts or other paraphernalia because it might be used to amplify divisiveness. Now, the protests have been erupting around the globe over the death of George Floyd in the hands of a Minneapolis police officer, which has in turn re-energized the Black Lives Matter movement. This is a company that, first of all, speaks out often and has dealt with racial issues before. Yes, they have. Y'all remember what happened back in 2016. He says, so I am really surprised that they weren't more sensitive in the first place, said Paul Argenti, Dartmouth College professor of corporate communication. That they reverse course is a good thing. It's more consistent with their approach to race issues in general. So basically, Starbucks has created their own Black Lives Matter shirt that they have approved for their employees to wear. So y'all don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Starbucks is on top of it right now. They are doing a little bit, you know, for the employees done griped and complained and did all they had to do, and Starbucks done obliged them. Okay? So anyway, before I get off into Rashard Brooks' case and the good news for today, the good news, we looking for more good news, y'all. We got to stay on top of it. Hopefully we'll see justice through to the end. But today was the first and great step towards bringing the killers to justice in the case of Rashard Brooks. You thought Starbucks, I thought Starbucks was right too, Yancy. I don't see anything wrong with what Starbucks said. They got a uniform. They got a prescribed uniform. Okay? If you're going to work here, you're going to wear my uniform, point blank and the period. Okay? You can put a button on your shirt. You can put on a wristband, headband. But you're going to wear a Starbucks shirt. Period. Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. Let's get some good music on, y'all. Let's get some good music on. Right now, I got so much going on over here. So much, I got so much music, so many playlists over here. Let's see. Do I want to go new school or old school? Let's see. Here is, because I don't want Facebook to cut my video off. You agree, Geraldine? That's what's up. That is what's up, honey. Right is right, y'all. You got to use some common sense sometime. And again, you got to pick your battles. You're not going to go to Winn-Dixie and work at Winn-Dixie and wear a shirt from McDonald's. You just not good because you support McDonald's in something. You just not going to do that, okay? You just ain't going to do that. You don't, that just ain't right. You out of order, okay? You out of order. You are out of order. King said, but once they made it okay for their employees to support LGBTQ, it set a precedent. Oh, so they let them wear LGBTQ t-shirts and things? Is that what happened? Because, see, that wasn't right. I mean, you're right. If they're going to do it for them, they need to do it for everybody else. But is that what happened, Kenya? They let them wear t-shirts that said, that supported LGBTQ? Is that what happened? Here is... Oh my goodness, y'all, I don't know what to play first. Let me go to the old school for y'all old school people. Let's see. Good grief. Here is, good grief. Here's Earth, Wind, and Fire with Let's Groove Tonight. Hopefully, Facebook won't flag my video, y'all. Well, if they let the LGBTQ people wear t-shirts in support of that, then they shouldn't have no problem with the other ones either. They got to be fair. They got to be fair. A pajama facial party. Is this an online thing? Send me the information, Kenya. I'll see what I can do, honey. Okay, honey? I got bad skin, girl.
Let you know, girl, you're looking good, you're out of sight. Alright, just move yourself and glide like a 747 and lose yourself.
Girl, I ain't know it was that bad. Oh my God. But yeah, send me the information, Kenya. Dark in here.
Let me tell you what you can do with my love. Alright, gotta let you know, girl, you looking good, you're outside.
Ah!
Alright,
Gee, I ain't studying you. I'm gonna fight you is what I'm gonna do. I'm sure it's an online thing, Nancy. Or is it Kenya, is it online, honey? And Yancy, you know better. You know you ain't gonna be able to get out of that house. Okay, it's on Zoom. Send me the information, honey. Send me the number. Y'all saw where Barbara Streisand gave George Floyd's daughter some stake and stocks in Disney, some Disney stocks. She is building towards that baby's future. That is so wonderful and commendable of Barbara Streisand. I was shocked when they said they were going to remove her. Oh my God, Geraldine, I saw that today and posted. They said they were going to remove Aunt Jemima's name and image these people. You know what? And I'm surprised too, Geraldine, because that Aunt Jemima thing kind of gets overlooked by a lot of people. But you know, they changed her. They gave her a makeover back here some years ago. They took the rag off her head and they put a perm in her hair. Now, I thought that was hilarious. They don't put a perm in Aunt Jemima's hair. They did that some years ago and they put a suit on her. And Uncle Ben, what they do to Uncle Ben? They gave him a fade. What they gave him a fade on King? Did they dye his hair? Old school music right now on the Fair Play Show. Y'all, wait a minute. Y'all, I'm sorry that this thing keeps leaning, keeps tilting. It will not stay up. Oh, they were gonna change the name. What they gonna change it to, girl? What they gonna change it to? What they gonna change Aunt Jemima to? Cousin Jamie? Uncle Ben. I don't have a problem with the name of Uncle Ben. I would have a problem, or I think I got a problem with the rice. And it wasn't so much. I don't think Uncle Ben's product is a problem. I think that wait a minute, y'all. I don't think Uncle Ben's, to me, is not a problem. I think that Aunt Jemima was a problem because she had on that head rag with a maid uniform on. Now that was a problem. Champagne King, y'all. I'm in love. The young folk don't know nothing about this. About you. Wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. Hey, they don't know nothing about that girl. I'm in love about you. Ain't no doubt. And we probably, was we even born when that came out? We was barely born, wait a minute, y'all. Let me fix this. I did, Geraldine. I did see Just Mercy. Saw it about maybe 2 months ago. It was a good movie. What'd you think of it, Geraldine? It was a good movie, but I got a but. You go first, Geraldine. What you thought of it? Geraldine, what did you think about Just Mercy? You go first, girl. It was a good movie. Don't get me wrong. It was good. Yep, my emotions, mine too. I'll say this though. I was expecting more for some reason. I was expecting a lot more. I was expecting a lot more friction, a lot more something in the movie. It kind of drugged a little bit. It was kind of slow, but it was a good movie. And I'm like you, my emotions were everywhere too, Geraldine. But it did kind of drag on a little bit. It was a little slow. Did you think it was a little slow? Old school party. When we come back from the music break, we're going to talk about Rashard and his case. Thank you for tuning in to the Fair Play Show. Make sure you love this video. Make sure you share this video. No doubt about it. Is that on? Yeah, it was based on a true story. Did you feel like they left something out? Or is it just me? Did you feel like they left some details out?
Nobody like you.
No, 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 no. No, it wasn't. And you can kind of tell that in the movie, Kenya, that they went through a lot to get the man out, because it was some years.
You were the
best thing, baby,
to ever come into my life. With you, I never had to worry.
Thank you, Horace, for sharing this video, sweet darling.
Every time I think about you, baby, girl, it just blows my mind. How could I let you get away?
I heard they was making a movie about Black Wall Street. Is that true?
I've been searching for so long.
Girl, I got plenty of playlists, Kenya. I can put some music together now.
Nowhere to be found. Makes me wonder what I do.
I had to go ahead on and sign up with YouTube. And I had to go on and pay that $10 a month for them to keep them commercials out. Keep the ads out. It's $10 a month. And I create all my playlists on YouTube.
Then my heart could never be the same. True love is oh so rare. It's something that's hard to find. So if you got someone special, take my advice and hold on.
They sure do need to, but I saw something online where they were making a movie about Black Wall Street. I want them to do it in due diligence though, and I kind of feel like it needs to be more than one part to that. It happened overnight, but I think they need to not leave out. Oh, you got a title, okay? But I don't need them to leave out any details about what happened. I need them to make them white people from back then look exactly like they look guilty. What they tried to hide and sweep under the rug for 100 years, it needs to be shown on screen. Makes me wonder what I do if I never had someone like you. Y'all see what Trump going to Tulsa? This Saturday, he's supposed to be going to Tulsa, Oklahoma, y'all. I hollered when I heard that. He was going on Friday, but The people complained about Donald Trump taking his fat self down there to Oklahoma, to Tulsa on Juneteenth. They told him it was disrespectful and you don't need to do it after what happened in Tulsa 100 years ago. Girl, I'm telling you. So he going down there Saturday. And I was on Twitter the other day, and a bunch of people say they bought up the ticket. Donald Trump literally thought he sold like over 1 million seats. And the arena that he gonna be in don't hold but 19,000 people. And I think they renting out a facility next door that don't hold but 40,000 people. So a whole bunch of people got together and they went online and they pre-ordered reserved seat tickets so that when Trump do his rally on Saturday, he'll be talking to a bunch of empty seats. Because every time Trump talk, all he talk about is numbers and how many people want to come to his event. It's going to be hilarious, but he claimed he sold over 1 million tickets and that over 1 million people want to come to his event, but it don't hold but like 60,000 people, okay? So that's going to be interesting. I won't be watching that Klan rally. I promise you I won't, but I do want to know the outcome. I want to know the results. But a lot of people bought the tickets so other folks won't be able to go, y'all. They spent their money. That's some money well spent. He knew what he was doing. Yeah, he did. He did. It was on purpose. I know if he, I'm like, you know when, you remember when Sophia got beat up by Harpo because Celie told Harpo to beat Sophia on Color Purple? And Sophia marched over there to Celie and she told her, you keep on advising him like you do. You remember she told her that? You just keep on advising him like you do. You're going to have a dead son-in-law. Well, that's Trump. Somebody advising him, and I believe it's that Stephen Miller that he got working for him. He is the one that's advising Trump to go out and do all this stupid stuff like this. Because Trump didn't know nothing about no Tulsa, Oklahoma. Nothing about it. He's gonna go out there and get beat up is what's gonna happen. Somebody is advising him wrong.
Since I met you, I've begun to feel so strange. Every time I speak your name, that's funny. You say that you are so helpless too, that you don't know what to do. Each night I pray there will never come a day when you up and take your love away.
Yeah, I saw that little airhead that be talking for him. So far, she the best one he done hired. I did see her. I can't think of her name. But yeah, I saw her. The little teeny bopper he got speaking for him. She gonna have to quit after a while too. Just watch. Ain't nobody work for Trump long. She the most well-spoken one he done had so far. But she ain't gonna last either. God forbid he win another term. She ain't gonna last. You can be sure I will never let you down. When you need me, I'll be around. Let me hurry up. I wasn't supposed to be on here long. Geraldine. The numbers done went up, done shot up in South Carolina. You know, the same thing has been happening here in my city. They say the numbers are shooting up, and they're probably shooting up everywhere. I think it's sad that people won't at least try to do the best that they can to prevent the spread of this virus. I'm hearing about folks literally going to clubs, packing up in clubs. You got healthcare workers going to clubs and parties and they're actually contracting this disease. So I think it's a shame, Geraldine. They can do minimal things. I know a lot of us don't like to wear masks all the time, but I think when we in crowds, when we around a lot of people, we need to wear masks. We need to wear them. We should keep some on us at all times. They're giving away masks all the time now. You can get a mask anywhere for free now, okay? In most cases. You say Newberry?
When I was young, me and my mama had beef, 17 years old.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Is Newberry a small town, Geraldine?
Ain't a woman
Alive that can take my mama's place.
Suspended from school.
Is that a small town?
Was a fool with the big boys breaking all the rules.
They just recently had a like a city council meeting or some type of hearing to discuss whether or not they need to start forcing people or institute a policy where people have to wear their masks when they go in places. And they shot that down. They said that they're not going to make anybody wear masks. I heard that. And that's a shame. Ever since this corona mess came out, I have been around as few people as possible. I thank God that there are only a few people that work in my office. Okay, we've been fortunate enough to be able to work from home a few days a week, but now we just started going back into the office every day. But we still got some people that, you know, from time to time work from home. It's only like 7 or 8 of us in there, so that's a good thing. And we're in a big open space, so we don't have to be right up on each other. So I thank God for that. When I go to the grocery store, I wear a mask in the grocery store. So I purposely do not go out around a lot of people. I don't go in places where people are congregating. I refuse. I only go when I have to go, like when I go grocery shopping. I do that. But all along I was looking for a father, he was gone. He did. I thought they said he did make it mandatory. I thought he was making it, you know, where they didn't have to, King. I saw something today where they said that it wasn't going to be mandatory. What did I miss? I love paying rent when the rent's due. I hope you got the diamond necklace that I sent to you. And who made this executive order? Was it Mayor Reed? Oh, see, today I read that they weren't going to make people wear it. That's what I read. Just working with the scraps she was given, and mama made miracles every Thanksgiving. But now the road got rough, you're alone. Trying to raise 2 bad kids on your own. There's some conflicting information out there, King. But my plan is to show you that I understand. You all appreciate it. Oh, really, Geraldine? You was nervous about going to the doctor? Huh. The only thing makes me nervous about the doctor's appointment is the coronavirus. I went to the dentist week before last and I was a little concerned. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought they said they weren't going to make it mandatory. See, you must have overruled something. Your Dr. White, Geraldine. When I was sick as a little kid, okay. Keep me happy, there's no limit to the things you did. And all my childhood memories. Full of all the sweet things. Oh, I see what you're saying. I got you, Geraldine. Though I act crazy, I gotta thank the Lord that you made me. There are no wow, okay. Well, that's good, King. That's good. You never kept a secret, always stayed real, and I appreciate how you they be giving them masks away in my building all the time, so. I wish I could take the pain away. If you can make it through the night, there's a brighter day. Everything will be alright if you hold on. It's a struggle every day, you gotta roll on. And there's no way I can pay you back. But my plan is to show you that I understand. Y'all, we gonna hurry up and get on into Rashard Brooks. Yeah, that is good. It is. I'm glad they got all the masks all around the building. And they take our temperature every day.
you know I love you, sweet.
Dear mama. Dear mama.
All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, so Mr. Rashard Brooks, y'all. So this past Saturday, what had happened was one night at a Wendy's, well, this Saturday, past Saturday night, in Atlanta, this young man by the name of Rashard Brooks, just coming from a party, I guess him and his wife had gone to a party, and he had been drinking a little bit, and he messed around and fell asleep at the drive-thru at a Wendy's in Atlanta. So apparently somebody must have called the police because he was sleeping in the driver's seats. Instead of going out to wake him up, they had to have called the police because the police showed up. The police went to the car, they woke him up, realized that he was drunk, and they told him to move his car because there were other cars that were behind him in the drive-thru, and some cars had to go around him because he was asleep, getting him a good nap at the drive-thru. Okay? So when the police made him move his car, he obliged. He did what the police told him to do. And they told him to get out the car. He got out of the car. And he started talking to the police officers. He answered all of their questions. He was extremely compliant. And he was talking to them really nice. And everything was going along smoothly for several minutes. So he even told them that he had been drinking. I heard that him and his wife had gone to a party. I'm not sure if she was in the car with him at that Wendy's, but she had gone to a party. They had come from a party because he said that when he was talking to the police officers. Don't know if she was in the car now, can you? So as they proceed, you know, the police officers were going along. He kept asking the man questions. The man said, yeah, I've been drinking. Mr. Brooks even offered to leave his vehicle parked at Wendy's, and he said he would walk home because he didn't live very far from Wendy's. But according to the Atlanta law, if the police pull you over and you drunk, they have to arrest you for drunk driving. That's the law, okay? Even if they let you out the next morning like you Otis on Andy Griffin. You know, they might have to lock you up so you can sleep it off like Otis, but they have to arrest you. But the problem was, they never told him he was under arrest. So they gave him, they asked him if he wanted to take a sobriety test. He agreed to do that finally. They gave him the sobriety test, and they figured out his blood alcohol level was above the legal limit. And so the police officer proceeded to pull out his handcuffs to arrest him. He never said you are under arrest. According to the law, the police officer has to let them know that they are under arrest, okay? And the question, so the next thing, several things happen as he's trying to put the handcuffs on Mr. Brooks. Mr. Brooks begins to resist the arrest, and he starts to struggle and fight with them to get away from them. So they have to hold him down. They have to use excessive force to hold him down, or force to hold this man down. They took out a taser and they tasered him, and they shot the taser twice. Everybody, if you know anything about tasers, taser guns, you know that once you use them twice, once you light somebody up with them, they are no longer operable. You have to literally charge them up or reload them or whatever they do to taser guns. You can't just reuse them after they've been used. Once they've been deployed, that's it. Okay, remember that. So during the time all of this struggle going on, Mr. Brooks winds up taking the taser out of their hand, and he runs from them with the taser in his hand. He takes off running. He takes off running like Walter Scott took off running in Charleston, South Carolina, when that police officer shot him in the back here few years ago. So when he takes off running, they claim that he pulled the taser. He turned the taser out towards them, but remember now, the taser is inoperable. It has no power at this point, so it couldn't hurt nobody. So the police officers shoot, or one of the police officers, the one by the name of Jeffrey Rolfe, is it Jeffrey or Gregory? Anyway, his name is Rolfe. His last name is Rolfe. He shoots Mr. Brooks in the back 2 times. He shot 3 times, but 2 of the bullets hit Mr. Brooks in the back. Okay? The third shot actually landed in the vehicle parked over on the side, a random citizen's vehicle. And in that vehicle, I'm told that there was a child or 2. There were 3 or 4 people in that car. So the police officer could have killed somebody else as well. So after all we know is that Mr. Brooks, the story that we got, because we didn't get the full story, okay? All we know is that Mr. Brooks struggled with them when they tried to arrest him. He went to sleep. They started talking to him. He fought with them trying to get away. They shot him in the back. In the back he was shot. Okay? They tasered him from the back as he was running away. Okay? Everybody knows that when you're running away from somebody, you are no longer a threat to them because you're running from them, right? Okay. What you said, this just in Atlanta, police are walking off the job because he has been charged with murder. They have been doing that at a lot of police departments, Kenya. A lot of these police officers are standing up and back in that blue line. You know what they call that thin blue line? A lot of these police officers are doing that, taking up for them. But they don't do that when these black police officers get in trouble. They just do that for... Anyway, let me move on. So after all of this mess happened, of course, the community is angry. People are protesting the death of Brooks in Atlanta. You got a lot of people that feel like his death was justified. They feel like the police should have killed him. And y'all, how many videos have we seen where white people have fought with the police officer, ran from the police officer? They've taken the police gun from them, pulled machetes on the police officer, chased the police officers. You got white people that jumped in the police car, stole the car, and drove the police car. Yet they live. They live to go to court. They live to go to trial. So anyway, all we know is that Mr. Brooks fought with the police officers, and the police officer, one of them, shot him in the back. That's all we know. The next thing we know is that that police officer wound up getting fired. The second police officer, because there was 2, was put on administrative leave. In other words, he was given a small vacation, because that's what it is. They give them vacations. So this was just this past Saturday. So the good thing about this situation is everything happened kind of fast. This situation is happening faster than any other situation that we've seen in a long, long time, okay? So today it was announced that the district attorney, earlier today I got a message, or I saw a post, they gave us a message that basically an invite that the district attorney in Georgia, his name is Mr. Howard, was going to announce whether or not he planned to charge Officer G. Roth, and the other's officer name is D. Brosnan. Yeah, his last name, it looks like, is Brosnan. So yeah, there were 2. So when Mr. Howard got on TV today at 3:00 p.m., he got straight to the point. He did an excellent job at telling why he's doing what he's doing. It was one of the best DA press conferences I've ever seen. He told us some things that I did not know. He showed us videos, he showed us pictures of everything that happened that night at Wendy's, things that I had no clue about. Okay, so the DA said that he had footage from a surveillance camera. He had video footage from 3 citizen cell phones. He had footage from a body cam. So he said he had 8 videos that he had to review, or that they had to review, before coming to the decision that they made today. They had 8 videos. And again, those videos were 3 of them were from witnesses that were there on the scene when Mr. Brooks was killed. The citizen witnesses, there were, let's see. There was a body cam video. 2 body cam videos that they had footage from. They had video footage from 2 dash cams. Wendy's had a surveillance camera in the parking lot, so they got footage from that. And again, they had 3 citizen cell phones, so that makes 8 different videos and angles they were able to watch before they came to the conclusion that they did. Okay? So, it was determined after they watched all of this footage, y'all. The DA, once again, he explained thoroughly why he charged the police officers in the death of Rashard Brooks. He told, yes, we are going to charge them. I knew when he made his initial statement that he was going to charge these police officers. He said that they realized when they watched the videos that Mr. Brooks was in fact no threat to them because he ran away from them. People are trying to figure out how a cordial conversation between a citizen and 2 police officers turned into a death. They're trying to figure out how it escalated. A lot of naysayers and onlookers and citizens and people, white supremacists and other people, are trying to say that it was justified because Mr. Brooks shouldn't have never tried to resist arrest and fight with the police officers. Again, they did not have to kill that man. They could have shot the man in the foot if they just wanted to stop him. They didn't have to kill him. They did not have to. There's no justification for what they did. And I'm going to tell you why, because there was more footage that was released today during that conference call that none of us knew anything about. Okay? So, the police shot, like I told y'all, not only did the police shoot Mr. Brooks in the back twice, but there was a 3rd shot that hit another car, and I do believe it was a Chevrolet Trailblazer. 1 bullet hit that car, and there were 3 people in that vehicle that somebody could have been killed during that time too. It was way too many people in that parking lot for them to be shooting like that, for that officer to shoot like that. It says that the officers never administered, now this was one of the worst parts. The officers never administered medical attention or medical assistance to Mr. Brooks. They say over 2.5 minutes had passed after they shot that man and he laid on the ground, and they never administered any type of medical assistance. They never tried to give him any CPR or anything when he was laying there fighting for his life with those 2 bullet holes in his back. Again, the taser had been deployed twice, so it was no longer useful. It was no longer a threat to them. And they knew that the taser no longer had any power in it because it had been shot twice already. Okay? They know their stuff. Once they actually shot this man and he was laying on the ground, the officer that shot him went over, y'all, get this, and kicked Mr. Brooks while he was there. Kicked him hard. And they had a picture of him, a still photo of him in action, lifting his foot to kick him. They got video footage of him kicking this man. They didn't show the actual video footage because they didn't want to traumatize the people in the courtroom or in that room with them. But you could see plainly in the picture that he kicked this man. The other officer that did not shoot him stood on Mr. Brooks' shoulders to hold him down. Remember what happened to George Floyd. Remember how Chauvin put his knee on that man's neck and held him down, and 2 of the other police officers helped to hold him down. Remember that. That man stood on his shoulders. Okay? They say it's customary in other situations for a police officer to stand on the hand of somebody if they think they have a weapon, to make sure that they don't get to their weapon. But that was not the case here because Mr. Brooks had already proven to them that he did not have a weapon. They say he had a bulge in his pants and his pockets that turned out to be some money. It was a wad of money that he had in his pocket. He had already told them that he did not have a weapon. Okay? So he was no threat to them. The officers, it was determined that the officers used excessive force, of course. The other officer, y'all get this. This is another turn. Wait a minute, before I tell y'all this, remember now, the officer that shot Mr. Brooks went over there and kicked him, and the other officer stood on his shoulder. Let's see, nobody should be shot in the back. Exactly, Kenya. Nobody should be shot in their back. That's the cowardice move. Cowardice, cowardly, whatever you want to say. It was a cowardly move, okay? A totally cowardly move. I totally agree with you. To shoot somebody in their back. The officer who shot him, jacket, his record is extensive, over 12 offenses, and he was not fined or found guilty of any of them. And for the state to get him when he shot him. Yep, that's all they are thugs. They're uniformed thugs, Kenya. But get this. So, he kicked the man when he got through shooting him, okay? And the other man stood on his shoulders. Well, check this out. How about the officer that stood on his shoulders? He has agreed now, for whatever reason, to testify against the other police officer that shot Mr. Brooks. He literally says that in a few days he's going to make a public statement, but he has agreed to be a key witness in the trial against the other officer whose name is Rolfe. I think his name is Gerald or something like that. Gerald or Jeffrey. I think it's Gerald Rolfe. But so the second cop, this is the first time in history, or in a long time, that an officer has agreed to testify against his co-worker or constituent. They say this is the first time that has ever happened. He said he can't talk right now. He can't speak to the public right now because he's too mentally traumatized. It's mighty funny that he's so mentally traumatized right now, but he wasn't mentally traumatized when he stood on Mr. Brooks' shoulder. That didn't traumatize him. He was all for that. That was easy for him to do. How's a drunk man? Exactly, Geraldine. Exactly. They forgetting that this man was drunk. Everybody knows that liquor gives you courage. Alcohol gives you liquid courage. He was never a threat to them, and he was very respectful. Mr. Brooks just said he wasn't going to jail that night. He just didn't want to go to jail that night. Now, was he right to fight the police officers? No, he wasn't right to fight them. But were they right to shoot him? No, they were not. They were wrong. They murdered that man in cold blood. Okay? But again, the second officer has agreed to testify against the first one, y'all. That's something very different. It doesn't happen very often. Yeah, he's afraid, Geraldine, because he know what he'll get in prison. Let's see. So y'all look for it in a few days. That second police officer, again, I think that man's name is, let me make sure I got it right now, honey. I think his name is Brosnan. I do believe that is his name. Yeah, his name is Devin Brosnan. And the killer cop, his name is Garrett Rolfe. R-O-L-F-E. That's his name, okay? So all of that done happened, y'all. They done kicked this man. They got video footage. See, they didn't bank on somebody having footage of him kicking that man. And they didn't bank on somebody having footage of the other officer standing on this man's shoulder. He's a rookie and a peer pressure is something else. Yeah, it is. And he probably going to have to go into witness protection to keep the other police officers off his tail. That's why he too scared to say something right now. Because he know they going to get him. Police officers stand up for each other when they white. You know that. Okay. But once again, like I said before, the DA in Georgia, that man did an outstanding job of laying out every detail that happened, everything that went on that night, all the events of June 12th, that night. He did an outstanding job of laying out his reasoning for the conclusions that he came to. And I'm going to tell you right now, y'all, I read a lot of ugly statements. I read a lot of statements and comments in support of Mr. Brooks. But there's a lot of people who mad that the police officers are being charged. A lot of people were saying that Mr. Brooks should be dead. There was one man that even said it's good they killed the drunk. You know, I had to tell him off. I couldn't help myself. I had to tell him off. I ain't going to tell. I didn't cuss him out, but I told him off, okay? These police officers had no regard for this man's life. They had a blatant disregard for Mr. Brooks' wife and kids. Mr. Brooks told them he had a wife and 4 kids. They did not care. They didn't care that this man had a wife and kids, wife and little children. He had young children at home, okay? They were cowards. They used the Glock 9. They used a personal gun to shoot this man in the back. And according to the district attorney, it is against the law and against police policy for any police officer to shoot anybody in their back or to taser them in the back. You're not supposed to do that. So they got charges for that. They got charges for shooting at the random vehicle, that third shot. It was all kind of charges flying out of that DA mouth today. They even got it recorded that the police officer said, I got him. After he shot him, he said, I got him. Okay? I got him. You told me about that, Kenya. You say you hope he tell on every bad cop that has done things that haven't been told. I hope so too, Geraldine. I hope so too. Cause he gonna be in the witness protection program. They're gonna have to move him to another state, and I hope he's seen like a canary. All right. So anyway, the truth about what type of police officers there were, anybody want to call them good cops is a lie. The truth came out at the end when that man kicked that man. When that police officer kicked that man, he sealed his fate then. And when the other man stood on his shoulders, he sealed his fate at that point. Okay? Remember I told y'all Mr. Brooks was never informed that he was under arrest. The police officer just went to try to put handcuffs on him. He was never informed of that. What else? I don't want to leave anything out. The police officers played judge, jury, and executioner. I'm so tired of these police officers playing judge, jury, and executioner. They got to be stopped from doing that. They got to be stopped. Let these people have their day in court. Let them have their day in court. Okay, so at the end of all of this, after the DA told us all of this, he said, yes, we will be charging them. At the end of the day, this is what happened. The first cop got 11 charges, I believe, put on him. 11 charges. The first charge was a charge of felony murder, which carries a sentence of life in prison or the death penalty. So he could literally get the death penalty if they ask for it, if the jury asks for it. But life or the death penalty. The second charge was aggravated assault because of what he did, because of basically him kicking Mr. Brooks. So it was aggravated assault. That carries a sentence of 1 to 20 years. And then there are like 8, 9 other charges for violation of oath of office. He got multiple violations of oath of office charges against him. Like when he shot this man in the back with the gun, when he shot him with the taser, when he, and also he got a charge of reckless, what did they call it? There's a third charge. Hold on. He got a third charge, criminal damage to property, when he shot that other vehicle. He shot at the other vehicle. The citizens that had nothing to do with it. He shot their car. And then there were, like I said, like 8 other violations of oath of office because of him shooting the man in his back with the gun and with the taser, and not telling the man he was under arrest, things like that. He got violations of oath charges against him. The DA has asked that he recommended no bond for him. The DA says he wishes that the grand jury would go ahead and indict him. They say usually in situations like this, it could be October before they actually indict this man. He says he wished they gave the DAs the power to go ahead and indict the people once they charge them with stuff. He says if they did that, this would move this thing along a lot quicker. The other officer has 3 charges put on him. He was charged with aggravated assault. Again, 1 to 20 years is the penalty for that. And then 2 violations of oath of office. The DA did recommend a $50,000 bond for him to have to sign on his own. So he did recommend that. And that's only because he agreed to testify against the other officer that shot Mr. Brooks. And the fact that he's going to make a statement. So that was the outcome of that press conference today. I was so happy and so pleased and so proud of the Georgia DA for what he did and how he laid it all out. He didn't waste no time. He just jumped right on into it. The video is on my page. It's on the Fair Play Show page. If you want to watch it, go ahead and watch it. But I was very happy and satisfied with the outcome of the press conference and what that DA said that he was going to do. But y'all, I just want to know, do y'all think that we're going to see justice all the way through to the end? That's what I want to know. Do you think that there's going to be some real justice behind this? Because that's what matters. We want to see a conviction happen, and we want some prison time. I feel like that cop deserves execution, but I'll settle for a life sentence. I will settle for a life sentence, you know? What do you think? Let's see what I missed. Getting folks together in this app. You getting them together, Kenya? When he read it. Yeah, he was about dead when they kicked him, Kenya. And the fact that they never administer any medical assistance to the man, no CPR or anything, tells it all. All of that told on him. All of that makes it much worse. And people have the nerve to be mad because the police officer, if they start charging police officers, what's going to happen? We ain't going to have no police force. They'll just get another one. Hopefully a better and a good cop. If they change these policies at these police departments and in the criminal justice system, this stuff will stop happening. See, people will say that mess. The white people will holler that mess. They can't be, yeah, I'm getting them together. You said getting them together. I have to get them together, Kenya. But these people ain't gonna be satisfied till the police kill one of their loved ones. Let them kill one of their kids. Let them kill somebody else. Then they gonna have a problem. They're gonna have a problem. They're gonna really have a problem. So yeah, you know, that's that. So I was very pleased with that. I was very pleased. They have been charged formally by the DA in Georgia, and I'm extremely happy about it. I just hope it leads to some solid convictions and some solid penalties. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, Miss Geraldine. We're going to see a lot of justice. People around the world are standing with Black Lives Matter. Absolutely. And this is the first time in history that this has ever happened, that people are standing with Black Lives Matter all over the world. This is true. Now, we know that all of this stuff, we can't change nobody's heart. You can't change. That's God's business. Only God can change the heart of people. But we can do some things in the natural. There are some changes that can be made in the natural that can lead to some heart changes. For example, they're changing the names of all of these schools that's been named after these Confederate war criminals, and they tearing down these statues and signs, and they even not debating, but they're actually now making people take down the Confederate flag. See, they got to do away with all of that. They got to do away with all of these symbols and constant reminders of the fight of what's embedded in the fiber of America. They got to do away with all of that. They got to get rid of all of this stuff first. Okay? You got people arguing, Kenya, about our high school because they don't want to, some of them don't want to change the name from Sidney Lanier because they was a poet. Change the name. Matter of fact, tear the school down and build another. Why they can't call it like Sunnyvale High or Sunnydale High School or something? They can call it something else. They ain't got to name it after nobody. They don't have to. But if they do, name it after somebody that did something good. All right? But it's good that they're doing that. Like I said, they're tearing down these statues, getting rid of these Confederate signs. I did not know that in Chilton County, i.e. Clanton, Alabama, that there was a Confederate memorial park there. I had no idea our tax money was going towards that. See, I don't want my tax money going towards nothing like that, anything that don't benefit me. It didn't help us. We all know what the Confederates stood for. We know the North wasn't no better, but the Confederacy were the only ones that were trying to expand slavery and trying to hold on to slavery. They were trying to hold on to it for dear life. They wanted to hold on to it so much they was trying to secede from the Union. They didn't even want to be a part of the Union, and for a little while they weren't. That's why they had Andrew Jackson as the Confederate president, because they were completely separate. And that was the problem that Abraham Lincoln had. He did not want the Union to be broken up. He said they need to unite. And so he knew that the only way to fix the problem, the war and the struggle that was going on between the North and the South, the only way to fix it was to end slavery. Slavery was the root of the problem. Slavery was the cause of the contention between the North and the South. They can lie all they want to, but it was the cause of it. And that is why Abraham Lincoln, he said the only way to bring unity to the Union, that includes the North and the South, the only way is to end the institution of slavery, because we were what they were fighting about the whole time. What you say, they got one too many? Ooh, they sure do, King. They getting on my nerve. They're making me sick. They're making me sick. But yeah, they had one too many oops. It's too many problems. People getting tired. People getting tired. You said don't change your experience. Change. That's right, change it. Do away with it. It wouldn't bother. I mean, who cares? Who cares what they call it? Everybody want to hang on to these idols, like somebody say. They done idolize all this stuff. You know? So that's my thought on it. Do what you got to do. Get rid of it because I don't want to see it no more. We done walked by this stuff for years. We done been complacent. We didn't think nothing of it. And these people idolizing and honoring these people that have falsely accused people of color, that have wrongly convicted people of color and put them in prison. How many people of color have gone to prison for something that they didn't do simply because the criminal justice system wanted to get somebody? And simply because they didn't want to get the real person that committed the crime. How many of us have suffered? We tired. It's been 400 years. We tired. Okay? Let's see. I don't know how I missed it, Kenya. I don't know how I missed it. I always see that big Confederate flag blowing in the wind, but is that where it is? Because I just never paid much attention to it. Yeah, Hollywood gonna get a makeover too, Geraldine. It sure is. They need to make over Hollywood. It's gonna be a lot of things that's gonna change. Again, though, none of this stuff changed the heart of people. But it's a start towards changing the culture of this country. The culture needs to be changed. Because white supremacy and racism is embedded in the fibers of this country. The foundation of this country is rooted in hate and in white supremacy and racism. And anything built on a rocky foundation has got to come down. It will not last. Don't let 400 years fool you. You see what can happen literally overnight. Overnight. 400 years it took to get to this point. But it literally happened almost overnight. Almost overnight. And unfortunately, the white supremacists, the people that are so stuck in them old ways, and so afraid that we gonna do to them what they have done to us. They so stuck there. They so bound and in bondage that they can't even handle it, y'all. They're literally losing their mind and having breakdowns behind this stuff. It was almost like the Great Depression of 1929. You know, when people lost all their money in stocks. You know, black folks didn't have that problem. We was poor anyway. We didn't have nothing to lose. We wasn't jumping out no windows because we ain't have no window to jump out of in most cases. But do you realize that how many of them cannot handle or deal with the way things are changing or progressing? Well, all I can say is they just gonna have to deal with it. They just gonna have to deal with it. They're gonna have to get over it because this is God's work. God is doing this, and ain't nothing they can overcome. They cannot undo what God is doing. You cannot undo something in the spirit, in the spiritual realm with some natural. You can't. You can't undo it. What's gonna happen is going to happen, and they just need to let it happen. People have a right to be free. People have a right to be happy. People have a right to be liberated and respected as people. And they just gonna have to get with it that they are not the cream of the crop. They just gonna have to understand that you ain't special. Just get it together. You're not special because your skin is white. They just need to understand that. They just gonna have to accept that. No person is greater than another person. God made all people equal. Nobody's greater. All right? And they just gonna have to come to accept that. You know? Today I saw a video, and I'm gonna get on out of here. I'm going to play another couple of songs and I'm going to get on out of here. There's a lady, I saw a video that was posted of a white lady that just, I don't know if she got into an argument with this black lady. They was outside, they was in a car somewhere. And she called the black lady a nigger, y'all. For no reason, just called her a nigger. And so once she called the black lady a nigger, she jumped in her car and drove to the police department. So the black lady followed her to the police department. She said, yeah, I'm going to follow you down here. Let's go on in here and file a complaint. I'm going to file a complaint against you for assaulting me and all this. The white lady literally had a breakdown in the police department talking about she is so tired of all the looting. She called the black lady a nigger because she's tired. She's so tired of all the rioting and all of the looting and she was like, what do you want from me? I mean, really. And that black lady did not take her foot off her neck. She went in the police department with her. She said, yes, please go get a police officer because this white lady didn't call me a nigger for no reason at all. Y'all, you should have seen that video. I do believe I may have posted it on my page. I cannot remember. But if I hadn't, I'm going to find it and post it. But the white lady was just, she had a nervous breakdown. Because all her evil chickens then came home to roost is what's happening. And she cannot handle it. She can't handle it. That now it's being exposed that she is part of the problem. And now she's scared. That's what it boils down to. All right. So before I get on out of here, let me play another song before I go. How about I slow it down just a little bit with a little bit of Love Ballad by LTD. Y'all keep talking. Wait a minute. Kenya, you said you deleted plenty of friends that show their true colors. I am encouraging my community to keep applying prayer. You got to. And you can't be afraid of nobody. Don't be scared of nobody. No, I didn't see that one, Kenya. I missed that one. I missed it. Let me see. I got to find that video. Oh, I think I know where it is. Somebody inbox me and send it to me. Crazy white lady. I can find that video. Never dreamed of something's changed. No, it's not. But no, I didn't see that one, King. Oh, it's much more. Love, I've never. The lady that called a woman a nigger and then went to the police department. I got to go and find it. What a difference. And when we walk in, I was sent an article by Crystal Kelly. Thank you, Crystal, where an article that said in the Huffington Post that the judge has ordered Donald Trump's administration to give the Indian tribes their COVID-19 relief funds. So the Trump administration is holding money from the Indians. See, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. These folks need to go to prison. He holding money that the government has allocated, that Congress has allocated and appropriated for the Indians. These folks holding that money back from the Indians. See, that's who need to get mad, these Indians. That's who really need to get mad. They need to get their land. The Indians need to get mad, y'all. That's who need to get mad. So now the judge done had to order the Trump administration to get these people their money, y'all. That they are owed and due. If anybody is owed some money other than black folks, it's the Indian folks. They are owed it too. What we have is much more than they. What is that video? What we have is much more than they. Kenya, I deleted some folks too, by the way. When I saw what they stood for, they had to go. You posted on my page, Kenya. What we have is much more than this. Thank you, Kenya. What we have is much more than this. Oh, wow. You know what? I did see it, but I didn't have time to read it. Thank you, Kenya. Let's see him. So this happened at Kroger. I see it now, Kenya. Let's see. What is this I just saw? This daycare provider who hang tall in her base, sentenced to probation. Oh, wow. Yeah, didn't that happen a little while ago, a couple of years ago, Kenya, with that daycare provider who hung the toddler in her basement? I think that happened a couple of years ago. I remember that. They should have turned the community loose on her. Hold on just a second.
You say you feel disenchanted.
Wow. These white people have lost their mind. I know the good white people are ashamed. They embarrassed. If I was white, I'd be embarrassed about this mess right here. We got us another Karen, y'all. Another Karen. This is a Kroger Karen. Let me see. Crazy behind. Let's see. A Kroger Karen. We got us one. Let's see him. She used a stroller to block a black woman from leaving a grocery store parking lot. They are so bold, aren't they? Let me see. Hold on, y'all. Shanika Montgomery Strickland says she was attempting to exit a Kroger parking lot when a white customer stood behind her vehicle and refused to let her leave. The mother of 3 live streamed the incident on Facebook, showing viewers the white woman and a young child positioned behind the bumper of her car. Police officers arrived on the scene and the 2 women gave statements to the officers. Montgomery Strickland, the black lady, described the incident as about the craziest thing she'd ever experienced, pointing to racism as the cause of the encounter. Online commenters have now dubbed the white woman in the video as Kroger Karen. They are everywhere, y'all. A little more detail about what happened. This is crazy, Kenya. A social media post capturing the problematic behavior of white women continue to circulate online. One Michigan woman has earned herself the online nickname of Kroger Karen after standing behind a black woman's car in a Kroger parking lot and blocking the fellow shopper from exiting the premises. Shanika Montgomery says that she was grocery shopping with her 3 children at a Kroger in Livonia, Michigan on Saturday when a white woman with a young child stood behind her vehicle and refused to let her leave the parking lot. Montgomery told Fox 2 Detroit the confrontation began inside of the store when her son stepped on a shelf to reach a bottle of Gatorade. The other woman, the white woman who was upset by the boy's behavior, began to yell at the child. It was irateness, she said, of the shopper's mood. She said the situation escalated in the parking lot when the woman who was pushing a young girl in a stroller approached Miss Montgomery Strickland a second time and called her a bitch, y'all. Oh, so she was harassing this woman. She done stalked this woman and followed her out the grocery store, and she was harassing her is what she was doing. So the Montgomery Strickland began streaming the incident on Facebook Live, and the clip has stirred up outrage. She says, I have a woman standing behind my car telling me that I cannot move and I cannot leave. This is ridiculous, she said in the video, panning over the other woman standing next to the rear bumper of her vehicle. I'm out here trying to do my job, me and my kids. Do you see this lady standing here behind my car refusing to leave? I just want to know, why didn't the black lady tell one of the people in the grocery store that the woman was following her and harassing her? That's what she should have done. Miss Montgomery Strickland added that she called the police in an attempt to get the woman to leave. So she called the police, but she should have told somebody in the store. She said all of this stuff going on out here, protesting and everything, and this is what this woman is doing. It's because of the protesting that these white people are acting crazy like that, because they mad, they nervous, they scared that things are about to change. They know it's all about them and their behavior, so they start acting like this. She says, you cannot hold me here. You cannot hold me at a store. When the police arrived on the scene, the woman quickly approached them and could be seen gesturing towards Miss Montgomery Strickland and her children, expressing her displeasure with being recorded. Yes, she was a threat to her and her kids, Geraldine. She threatened this lady. she would have got handled and prepared to meet Jesus. I'm telling you, King, see, the Lord ain't through with me yet. That's why I pray every day that the Lord don't let me have these kind of encounters, because I be done fought somebody. So the white lady told the police officer she didn't like being recorded, okay? But it's okay for her to stand behind this woman's car. It says, in the remainder of the video, Miss Montgomery Strickland, the black lady, and a Kroger employee appeared to give statements to the police, and one officer could be heard saying, there's no law that's been broken, though it's unclear what the officer was referring to. In a follow-up live stream from her car, Miss Montgomery Strickland described the incident as about the craziest thing she'd ever experienced, though she discouraged her sons from calling the woman a name. She said, I don't like how she talked to me. I don't like how she talked to my kids. And I refuse to shop in a place of business and have somebody act like that. I hate that the kids had to see that, but now they see. They were like, that lady is racist. And I said, yes, she is, because there was no cause for it. She basically attacked us without putting her hands on us. Y'all, I just want to know one thing, and I know I ain't lying when I say this. Now, if there had been a black woman that was harassing her, you know she would have cussed her out and called her all kind of names. Why black people don't like is the reason why we don't say nothing to white people, is it because we're scared, or is it because we know that when the police come, they're going to be trying to take their side, and we want to be as innocent and blameless as possible? Now, I get it. I understand it. But, you know, it's hard to justify somebody cussing you out and calling you all kind of names, and you ain't supposed to say nothing back to them. I just, whoo. Anyway, in 3 days, the videos has been viewed thousands of times and racked up comments from viewers outraged by the white woman's behavior. Another Karen, one commenter wrote, using the derogatory term for an entitled white woman, literally losing their minds out there. White privilege is being able to storm up to an officer while he is getting out of his vehicle and vulnerable, another wrote. See, the white lady knew if she got to the police first, she can put her lie out there. She can go and put her lie out there. It says in the comment section, the mother of three added that she did not have the woman's name, but that personal information was included in the police report. She also accused the store security guard of standing outside doing nothing while the incident took place. See, he needs to be fired. I'd make sure he gets fired too. You got a Peter Spears. See, that's what I'm talking about. Me too, Kenya. Ooh, girl, you say he'll be lucky, they'll be lucky to walk away with their ear. You ain't kidding. See, that's what I'm talking about. I cannot afford to be in them kind of situations right now. The black lady says this needs to be known. You can't just like hush about everything and keep on letting people get away with nonsense. I've gotten a lot of responses. People are very angry and upset about it because they say it makes no sense. What is wrong with people? Why are they still out here doing this after all this is going on? This is why they're doing it. All the changes we're trying to make everybody know, when certain types of white people get scared, this is how they act. We're trying to make changes after Black Lives Matter. It makes no sense. Representatives for Kroger did not immediately respond to insiders' request for comment. I believe I would sue Kroger, okay? I believe I would get me a few dollars on Kroger's behalf. Seriously. Yes, they were wrong, Geraldine, and she needs to sue them and make sure that they fire the security guard, and the police officer needs to be reprimanded as well. I mean, there's no way. See, this kind of stuff just can't keep going on. This cannot keep going on. She was just going to make, help me. Help me. So, yeah, there's that. Stuff like that. I can't. I simply can't. And like Yancey said, yes, Yancey, white privilege at its best when you talking about the daycare provider who hung a toddler and had the nerve to cry in court. We gonna call her daycare Karen. She was sentenced, only got probation, y'all. You said you would have had to put it in reverse, yeah, and just tap her a little bit, Geraldine, just bump her on her knees a little bit. The only thing I would have been thinking about was the baby. I've been thinking about the baby, and I maybe would have tapped on them knees just a little bit. I would say, girl, if you don't move, I'm standing behind somebody's car. That's crazy. This is the kind of stuff that's going on now, y'all. Anyway, let me get on out of here. Anyway, y'all, it's been real. Thank you for tuning in. It is 10:39. I've been on here literally almost 2 hours now, and I said I wasn't going to stay on here this long. I appreciate you, Kenya. I appreciate you, Geraldine. Everybody else, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Yancy, for participating. Y'all be strong and hold tight. Don't forget to pray. And yeah, and we will talk soon and very soon. Y'all have a good night, all right? Because I got to go. I got to go to work in the morning, y'all. All right, take care, y'all. Bye, Geraldine. Bye, Kenya. Who else? And whoever else is peeping from the bushes. Night, night.